So UFC 299 is on the way, and people want to know my predictions. I'm here to give it to you. First up, we have CJ Vergara versus Asu Almabayev, and I will go with Almabayev here. I do think because he has the grappling advantage, he will win this fight. And if you take CJ Vergara down, although he has great takedown defense and is pretty good at scrambling on the ground and getting back to his feet, his weakness comes in when he's pressuring you like you're supposed to do a fighter who you know is going to go for the takedown, and he overextends. We saw Tatsuro Taira take him down like that and pretty much lay on top of him and control him for the entire round, and then in the second round, he did basically the same thing and got finished. I think this fight goes pretty similarly. Next, we have Robelis Dispain making his UFC debut versus Josh Parison, or however you say it, if I said it wrong at least. Robelis Dispain is about to cause a lot of pain. Next up, we have Michel Pereira versus Jan Blachowicz, and I'm pretty sure this fight happened already, right? This fight was won by Pereira. It's just about to happen again. Don't be surprised. Next up, we have Ion Cutelaba versus Felipe Lins, and I'm actually going to go with Felipe here. Ion has these moments where he's like, he has all the skills and everything he needs to win these fights, but somehow he comes out there and he loses. Now, granted, he has fought much tougher competition than Felipe Lins has, so that experience might be carried over into this fight. But from the couple of fights that Felipe Lins has had at light heavyweight, he looks a lot better than he did when he first came in at heavyweight. Even physique-wise, he looks a lot better. He doesn't even look like the same person as he did at heavyweight. I'm confident in his skills. I think he'll win this one, and I like Cutelaba too, so I mean, if he wins this one, I won't be upset at all. Next up is Pedro Munoz versus Kyler Phillips, and no matter how I look at this one, this is going to be a tough fight for both guys. And yes, that is despite Pedro Munoz being at his old age. Pedro has proved he still got that dog in him, and he's still down to fight anybody. He still has dangerous leg kicks, and he's still good on the ground. Kyler Phillips' best bet here is to stay at range. Stay at range and pick him apart. I don't think he knocks Pedro out because Pedro has shown that he has an incredible chin, even against someone like Chito Vera. Pedro has dangerous leg kicks, so I think the leg kicks from Kyler Phillips is actually going to be nullified here. Kyler Phillips, even while staying at a distance, is going to have to look out for the strikes coming back his way because Pedro still can close that distance and hit you with a very good shot. I mean, he dropped Chris Gutierrez in their last fight. Man, this is one that can go either way, but I'm going to have Kyler Phillips. I think he can get it done, and it probably will be by decision. Next up, we have Mateusz Gamrot versus RDA, and I do think Gamrot will win this. I mean, in his last fight, he was being taken down by Vicente Luque. That's saying something. Plus, RDA is old. He's one of those guys who kept jumping from weight class to weight class, which is not good for your body. I mean, this guy is probably going to go out here and get destroyed by Gamrot, to be honest. Maybe a second round submission is what I'm seeing here. Being taken down 8 times by Vicente Luque is not setting you up greatly for a fight against Gamrot of anybody. So I got Gamrot, and it's either by a second round submission or a decision. And this is where things start to look scrumptious. Curtis Blaydes versus Jailton Almeida. Normally, I would sit here and make fun of Curtis Blaydes' low fight IQ, but I think this time it won't matter because Jailton Almeida is very one-dimensional. That stand-up is very, very questionable. Curtis Blaydes' low fight IQ usually comes into play when there is a striker who can defend takedowns on the other end. This is not the case this time. This is a grappler, okay? Curtis Blaydes is a wrestler and a big guy at that. And for once, he has the advantage on the feet. People underestimate him because of what he went through, you know, with guys like Sergey Pavlovich and Derek Lewis. But these are powerful strikers who are good at defending takedowns sometimes. That is not the case here with Jailton Almeida. Jailton Almeida has no stand-up. All takedown, all grappling. This is tailor-made for you to win, Curtis Blaydes. If you lose this one, I've lost all hope, and I hope the UFC has lost it too. And I got Curtis Blaydes. I think he's going to pull off the fraud check. This is the year of the fraud check, guys. Next up is Petr Yan versus Song Yadong, and this was a fight I had to research quite a bit actually. Petr Yan has his little high guard that he loves to do whenever strikes are being thrown his way, which opens up body shots. Thing is, I don't see Song Yadong throwing many body shots, and the same thing can be said in Song Yadong's case as well. He likes to have this high guard which opens up his body, but I do see Yan throwing more body shots, but I don't see them affecting them as much as if Song threw them. With that being said, this is a 3-round fight, which means that Petr Yan is at a disadvantage here since he likes to download the data and then stack up on it, which usually takes more than 3 rounds to do. It basically then boils down to whose bag is deeper and who's more active on the feet, which they're pretty close in that as well. So I would definitely have to go with Yan because he does have the deeper bag, but his activity kind of matches song. So this is a tricky one, but I will go Jan by decision. Very tricky though. Plus, I could see Jan getting chin. See, this is the problem when it comes to fights like this, because there are ways both guys can win, and there are both pretty clear-cut, obvious ways that they can win. On the feet, it's easily Jack. On the ground, it's easily Burns. On the feet, we all know at this point Gilbert Burns cannot see jabs coming, specifically from southpaw, but jabs in general. However, we did just see Jack Della Maddalena struggle with Basil Hafez, another grappler slash striker who was also just bringing it to Jack Della Maddalena and not being scared to step in that fire. I can see Gilbert Burns replicating this, but there is one problem that I see with Burns that I don't see with Hafez, and that is Burns is chinny. He always has been and he always will be, but this is the thing that I've also seen. When Gilbert Burns went for takedowns on the last striker that he had to worry about on the feet, which is Wonder Boy, he shot from pretty far distance, especially on that first takedown when they were fresh. And I do see Jack Della Maddalena having the footwork to get away or just stuffing the takedown a lot better than Wonder Boy did, whose takedown defense at the time was definitely declining. This is such a hard fight to call because I see ways both guys can win, both guys can take advantage of each other's weaknesses. But I do think Jack Della Maddalena will be my pick, because if he can defend the takedowns and keep Burns on the feet, pressure Burns and keep Burns true, he can definitely take advantage of it. He could definitely knock out Gilbert Burns. I see it as Jack Della Maddalena second round KO. Next up, we have Kevin Holland versus Michael Venom Page. Welcome to the UFC, Venom Page. This is going to be a very fun fight. I feel like this might be fight of the night, depending on how long it goes, because I do see whichever one lands first lands last. Plus, this fight is already hard to predict, seeing that Holland usually comes out there different every single time. He's never doing the exact same thing, but nor is Michael Venom Page. He's always doing something crazy as well. They're both talkative in the cage. They're both long rangey strikers with a devastating right hand. So the fact that I would have to give this fight to Kevin Holland simply because he's fought Wonder Boy, he's seen this style kind of already, so he knows how to prepare for it, is crazy. Plus, I know a lot of you forgot, but he did almost have Wonder Boy done in that first round, but he hurt his hand, which led to his downfall. And I do think Kevin Holland is definitely tougher than Michael Venom Page, so I will go with Kevin Holland, and I will go by decision or a second round knockout, honestly. Probably the knockout's more likely. Next up, we have the fight a lot of people are waiting for, Dustin Poirier versus Benoit Saint-Denis, and I understand why a lot of people are waiting for this fight. We want to see how Benoit will do against Poirier. Benoit is definitely an animal. He's seen things not many people have seen, and he's in this octagon. He's going for the knockout every single time. The problem is, on the feet, I see Poirier tearing him apart. Benoit is so open on the feet that it doesn't make sense. He can get destroyed on the feet. He relies on his toughness a little too much on the feet for me to be comfortable picking him. But don't get me wrong, Poirier has some flaws too. The fact that he's coming off of a knockout loss will definitely question a bunch of things coming into this fight. Does Poirier have the same chin? He is getting a little older, and that's always a worry, especially coming off of a knockout loss. Plus, Poirier has been shown that if you pressure him to the fence and you start grappling him, you can take him down, which is a very dangerous spot to be against Benoit Saint-Denis, because if he gets you down, he's probably going to keep you there, and he's very good on the ground. Poirier's ground game is kind of being overlooked here, which is kind of understandable, but y'all, he's not as bad as a lot of people say he is. I mean, the people he lost to on the ground are Habib and Charles Oliveira, and very early in his career, Korean Zombie. Other than that, he hasn't really lost to many people on the ground. So there's definitely things that I will have to look out for. There are some things I will have to question. There are questions I have about Dustin Poirier coming off of a knockout loss, his age. There are things I have questions about with Benoit Saint-Denis, like, is his stand-up going to hold up against a very dangerous striker in Dustin Poirier? We don't know, but I will go with Dustin Poirier, actually. I will go with Dustin Poirier winning by third round TKO. I can see Poirier surviving the onslaught and countering through the onslaught as well, hurting Benoit Saint-Denis. And if Benoit is hurt, he relies on his toughness too much. That defense isn't really there. And I can see Poirier tearing that down. This is a tough one, though, because I really do want to go for Benoit Saint-Denis, because I am high on this guy. I do believe that he is a future title contender, but if his striking doesn't look any better in this fight, it is going to be worrisome, because I've seen Poirier get off of his back against very dominant wrestlers and grapplers. I've also seen Benoit Saint-Denis hurt, and I know what he does when he's hurt, and it does not look good if he's going to get someone like Poirier who is going to pour it on you, and he seems to get better if you are hurt in front of him, and he is beating you down, whether you go for a takedown or not. I gotta go with Poirier on this one. I have to. And last but not least, we have Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Chito Vera, and I do have Sean O'Malley here. In their first fight, even while Sean O'Malley was hurt, he was picking off on Marlon Vera. Now, Marlon Vera is also a slow starter. He likes to build up, and he has 5 rounds to do so. But do you really think Marlon wants to wait 3 rounds at least to download everything he needs on Sean O'Malley before he starts to pick up the pace and stuff? This is not a person you want to do that against. Sean O'Malley will get far ahead. He will land a bunch of strikes on you. Now, Marlon Chito Vera is definitely the most defensively sound person that Sean O'Malley has fought thus far, and also probably the toughest person as well. But I don't think Marlon Vera wants to wait that long. I think he has to be aggressive here, and I don't see him doing that. That's so outside of his style. Even in these other fights where people were like, Marlon Vera needs to start off fast and he can win this fight, he didn't do such a thing, like, at all. I see Sean O'Malley taking this one by decision, a dominant decision, probably one where they could call a TKO in certain moments of the fight. I just think Chito will start way too late, and by the time he starts to really start up his striking and get it going, it'll be too late because Sean O'Malley is so far ahead that it won't really matter. Now, he has that power factor. If he does hit O'Malley clean, we could see O'Malley go down or out. But the question is he going to land that? Is he going to land that strike that can put Sean O'Malley down or out? I don't think so. So yeah, I'm going to go with O'Malley, and I'm going to go by a decision. Well, guys, that's the end of the breakdowns and predictions. I hope you liked the video. If you did, leave a comment about who you think will win each of these fights. And my prediction score so far, I predicted 7 of my 11 fights that I predicted on my Moreno Royval 2 card, and on the Rosenstrike versus Gaziv card, I predicted 8 of my 9 correctly. But I'm off to a good start, and there are so many hard predictions on this card that I can see most of these fights really going either way, and that's what makes this such a good card. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys are going to tune into this because I definitely will. And yeah, follow all of my socials. Today's verse of the day is going to be James 4:7. I hope you go read it. We're living in scary times right now, so I hope you all spread love. Love your neighbors as yourself, and love those who hate you, because in the end, love always prevails. See y'all in the next video.